In this lesson, I'm going to look at IELTS Speaking Part 2 and the topic area, Describe a Place, the second of our main common topic areas for this part of the test. Remember, what we're trying to do in this preparation for IELTS Speaking Part 2 is work on good ideas, good vocabulary for the most common topic areas, the most common tasks for this part of the test. We're not working on grammar or linking. That will not help you in Speaking Part 2. It's all about good ideas and good vocabulary so that you respond to the task well and give a really good description. That's what will impress the examiner. In the previous lesson, I told you about the 6 main topic areas for Speaking Part 2. Describe a person, place, object, event, activity, and your favourites. We did describe a person in the first lesson, and now we're going to look at this topic, describe a place. I just want to remind you again, and I'll keep reminding you, that we're preparing ideas and vocabulary here, not grammar or linking. Anyway, let's go on to looking at the different types of question for this topic, describe a place. I've seen the following questions: describe a city you visited, describe a city you would like to visit, describe somewhere you went on holiday, a historic place, a river, lake or sea, a journey. All of those are descriptions of places. And I think that we can probably prepare ideas for one description that will work for any of these questions. We might just have to change it a little bit, but with one description we could answer any of these 6. Another 3 that I've seen that are slightly different, asking you to describe a more specific place, are describe a shop, a restaurant, a street market. I'll talk about these as well in this lesson. So there's really 2 types of describe a place question. And if you get a describe a place question in your test, you'll probably be asked these simple things about that place. Which place it is, of course, you'll have to say the name of the place, where it is, what you did or can do there, and why you like it. Very simple questions to help you describe this place. These are the bullet points that you'll probably see on the task card, and you can follow those bullet points to help you give your description. Now, the preparation tip that I gave you in the first lesson is the same for this topic. Think of a theme for any place, start with easy adjectives, and search for better words or phrases. I'll show you what I mean by that. If we take the theme of an interesting place, easy adjectives to describe an interesting place could be fun, lively, etc. But if we search for better words and phrases, we can prepare a better description. So words like fascinating, unforgettable, or a phrase like the time flew by, meaning the time went very quickly. Let's look at this theme in a bit more detail. If we're describing an interesting or fun city, there are lots of good things we could say about it. It's lively, bustling, hectic, thriving, cosmopolitan, multicultural, fascinating, unique. It has a special atmosphere. Talk about the sightseeing or the entertainment in that city. You could say it was an unforgettable experience, that you enjoyed every minute. The time flew by. There were endless things to see and do. And the visit was over too quickly. All of these are great things to say. You don't need to mention all of them, of course. This is just good preparation. If you don't know any of these words or phrases, check them in a dictionary and see if you can use them in full sentences yourself. Let's look at another theme, the historic theme, just in case you have to describe an old place, a historic place. We could talk about the old buildings, the palaces, the statues, ancient things such as monuments, the landmarks, which means the important places in that city. Somewhere where great events took place in the past. You could talk about the connection to the past, the reminders of the past in that city, Everywhere you look, you see these reminders. The city is full of history. It has a rich cultural heritage. Some good vocabulary to use if you have to talk about somewhere old. Finally, what if we had the restaurant, shop, or market? Let's take the friendly theme to describe a restaurant. Imagine you're saying that you went to a restaurant that was really nice because it was so friendly. You could say it was welcoming, inviting, warm. The waiters maybe or the staff were approachable, polite, thoughtful, attentive. It had a great atmosphere. The people there, the staff, made you feel at home. The service was excellent. Nothing was too much to ask. It was an unforgettable evening. Again, we're not giving a list of synonyms here, just synonyms of the word friendly. We're trying to develop a theme around this word friendly, thinking of other things that could be related. In this case, with the restaurant, all of these other adjectives and phrases that are good for describing a friendly place. And as I said in the previous lesson, the final step in preparation, I think, is to think of examples or stories to demonstrate each theme. For example, if we've been talking about the city and we've said the city was interesting, let's demonstrate that by saying what was interesting, what we did there. Give a real example. We visited famous landmarks and attractions such as, and give the names. Or we could say, we lost track of time because. We lost track of time means we forgot what time it was because we were enjoying ourselves so much. So give real examples like that. If we take the restaurant as another example, the restaurant was friendly. Example or story, the waiters really made us feel special. They even surprised us with a birthday cake for our friend whose birthday it was. So that's the final step. If you can think of some examples, that will really help support your ideas, and it will help you to keep speaking as well. It's very easy to speak for a long time if you've got a real example or story. Looking back then at our list of questions for the describe a place topic, I think we've now got some good themes and some examples for all of these. We could probably use those themes for any of these particular questions. And in a moment I'll show you how I answer using these themes. I'll give you 2 example answers using the themes that we've prepared. But remember, you can't prepare for everything. You will need to adapt your ideas and improvise in the test. And I'll show you that as well just a bit later in this lesson when I adapt some ideas for a second answer. When you've prepared some good vocabulary ideas for these different topics, when you've got your themes and some examples, the only thing left to do is practice. When you practice speaking, I recommend that you record yourself, because then you can write down what you said and you can analyze it and you can try to improve it. You can check whether you included all of the good vocabulary that you prepared. Sometimes people prepare things but then forget to use them. So check whether you used it. Check whether you could add more words and better phrases to improve what you said. Finally then, I'm going to look at 2 example questions and give my 2 example answers. The first example question is, describe a river, lake or sea which you like. You should say what the river, lake or sea is called, where it is, what the land near it is like, and explain why you like this river, lake or sea. I'm going to start my description in a moment, but before I do, I'll just tell you that this question is easier than it looks. I'm going to choose the river in London, which allows me to do a nice, easy city description. Here we go then. I'll start the 2 minutes now. I'm going to describe the best known river in England, the River Thames. The River Thames is in the south of England and it's famous because it flows right through the centre of London. It goes winding through all of the most iconic, famous tourist attractions and landmarks of the city. For example, it goes past the London Eye, the Houses of Parliament with Big Ben, and it goes under Tower Bridge, probably the most famous bridge in London. So the land around this river, or on either side of this river, is hectic, thriving city centre London. It's right in the heart of the city, and of course it's a cosmopolitan mix of cultures, business, tourism, all around. It's where everyone goes to do sightseeing in the centre of the capital, and it's got a lot of the history and heritage of London based around that area in close proximity to the river itself. The reason I like this river, the River Thames, is because it's such an iconic location. It's a backdrop to these great landmarks of the city, the historic buildings and famous tourist sites in the city. And I've got good memories of being there on a New Year's Eve one year recently. In London, New Year's Eve celebrations are all focused on the river, with the river and some of the landmarks as the backdrop to a big fireworks show. And so the river's all lit up, and there's a spectacular fireworks display put on, and lots of tourists and local people all watch it there together. And that was really an unforgettable experience, and the river was central to it. That's the end of the 2 minutes. I've had to stop there. I've tried to use as many of my theme ideas as I could, and you can analyse how well I did by reading the script on the worksheet attached next to this video. Now I'll try to do the same thing for a second example question, and I'll try to use and adapt the same ideas that you've just heard, with the difference that this question will be about a restaurant. Here's the question. Describe a restaurant that you enjoyed going to. You should say where the restaurant was, why you chose this restaurant, what type of food you ate, and explain why you enjoyed eating in this restaurant. Here we go then. I'll start the 2 minutes now. I'm going to describe a restaurant that I went to quite recently for the birthday party of a friend of mine. The restaurant that we went to was right in the heart of London, overlooking the River Thames. It was quite near to Tower Bridge, the famous bridge in London. And we had a great view from our vantage point above the river. We had a great view of all the famous London landmarks in that area. My friend chose the restaurant because of this location, because of the great backdrop. Out of the window of the restaurant we could see all of these iconic places in London, and he thought it would be a good place to have a celebration, a place that would be memorable for everybody. But also we'd heard that the food in this restaurant was delicious, and that the staff were warm and welcoming, and the service and the quality was all round really good. The type of food that we ate there, well, it was a fusion restaurant, I think they called it, which meant that there was a variety of food choices from all over the world. There were Mexican food choices, Mediterranean, Persian, but also hamburgers and pizzas, that kind of thing. I think I actually had a pizza with various toppings on it myself, and it was really nice. It was a fantastic meal. The reason I enjoyed eating in this restaurant, firstly, it was a great chance to get together with friends and chat about what we'd been up to and catch up with some of my good friends. But also the restaurant itself really did make the night special. The service was fantastic. The waiters and the staff really made us feel at home. They were thoughtful and attentive to all of our needs, and we were really surprised at the end when they brought us a cake to celebrate my friend's birthday. Okay, I've had to stop there again. I've hopefully used some of my ideas about the city description, but also about the friendly restaurant that we prepared earlier in those themes. Again, you can analyse how well I did by looking at the script on the worksheet attached next to this lesson. And that's the end of the lesson. You can download the attached worksheet to see those scripts, and In the next lesson we'll do something similar with the different topic describe an object.